Hi, everybody. Remember, we're still reading this book called The Puppy Place, and this book here is about Scout. We're on chapter 3. Hello, Lizzie heard Meg say. Mrs. Goodman, Lizzie knew that it was a very good thing that Scout had a wonderful home just waiting for her. Still, she couldn't help feeling a little bit sad that she would have to say goodbye to this very special puppy soon. But Lizzie couldn't stay sad for long. Just then, Buddy ran past her, dragging a rope tug toy that was almost bigger than he was. Scout galloped behind him, trying to catch up with Buddy, and also trying to bite the other end of the rope. Doing two things at once was a bit too much for the little pup, and Lizzie laughed as Scout tumbled over her own feet. Casey brought up the rear, looking like a mature and dignified dog that she was. That is, until she grabbed the toy and swung it away, teasing young pups by stealing their prize. Lizzie and Charles and their parents could not stop laughing as they watched the three dogs playing. It was quite a sight. Scout was the smallest. She looked like a miniature Casey, only fluffier, and with those floppy over ears, Buddy was bigger, about up to Casey's chest. He had grown since the Petersons had adopted him, but he was still a roly-poly puppy who liked to chase his tail and still sometimes, not often, but sometimes, made messes in the house. And Casey, she was such a beautiful dog. Lizzie loved her so much. That sharp nose and face, her huge, soft brown eyes. Her coat was thick and shiny, and a mix of brown, tan, and black. When Casey stood still with her head was held high, and she looked noble and elegant like a hero. But then she would wag her long, feathery tail, give a doggy grin, and beg for a cookie like any regular dog. Right now, Casey was trolling along the fence with a rope toy in her mouth. Both puppies were tearing after her. She's playing keep away, Charles pointed and laughed. She won't let them get the toy no matter how hard they try. Lizzie was laughing too, but then she saw Casey lurch and stumble. Then she regained her balance and started to walk again. She was limping a little. Oh no. Lizzie ran over to Casey. Are you okay? She put her arms around the dog. She's fine, Meg said, snapping her cell phone shut and coming over to join Lizzie. She felt Casey's front leg. You're okay, sweetie, right? She turned to Lizzie. Just has an old shoulder injury that acts up sometimes. It's no big deal. So are you taking Scout to the Goodmans? Lizzie bit her lip. Well, Meg said, actually I'm not. It turns out that they can't take her. Mrs. Goodman just had a bad fall and broke her leg, and she's going to be on crutches for quite a while. It's just not a good time for them to have a puppy, she sighed. Oh, well, I'll call the Tankus. They were second on my list. She opened up her phone again, and Lizzie turned back to watch the dogs. Check out Buddy, Charles said. He really likes Scout. See how he's chewing on her ear? I think Buddy likes being a big brother, Lizzie agreed. And look at Casey. She loves Scout. They could almost be mother and daughter. Lizzie looked up from her mom. They're not scary at all, right? Not a bit, said Mom. Anyways, Meg tells me that the German Shepherds are rarely mean dogs unless someone trains them to be nasty. That's right, said Meg, snapping her phone shut again. Most German Shepherds are total pussycats. So, Lizzie asked, are the Tankus excited about their new puppy? Meg rolled her eyes. As a matter of fact, they are, but their puppy is not named Scout, and it's not a German Shepherd. They got tired of waiting, so they adopted a mixed breed puppy from the shelter. They brought Scamp home yesterday. Oh, dear, said Mrs. Peterson. That's good, though, Lizzie said. Those dogs at the shelter needs homes, too. She knew that because she volunteered one day a week at the animal shelter called Caring Paws. You're absolutely right, said Meg. Well, let's not hope that the third family on my list is ready for a pup. She dialed another number and stood listening at the phone and rang and rang and rang. Nobody's home, she said, but there's a message on their answer machine. She held up a finger as she listened. Then she hung up, sighing. They're away on vacation. For a whole month, Meg shook her head. I don't believe this. For a moment, they all stood and watched the dogs play in the yard. I wish I could take Scout myself, Meg said. She was such a little cutie and smart, too. I bet you could train a dog to do anything. So why don't you adopt her, Lizzie thought. Meg would be the perfect person for Scout. I'd love to, but I can't, Meg shook her head. Casey and I have to travel all over the place at a moment's notice. That's how it is when you're a search and rescue team. So there's no way I can be responsible for a puppy. "So what are you going to do with Scout?" Charles asked. Lizzie noticed that he had a certain gleam in his eye, and that meant he was thinking the same thing she was. Avoiding her mom's eyes, she asked Meg, "Won't Scout need a foster home?" "She sure will," Meg said. "I'd love to find her a permanent home with someone who can train her for search and rescue, but that would take some time. Meanwhile, she'll need a loving temporary home." Lizzie and Charles turned to Mom at the same time. "Mom?" Lizzie asked. They knew she was the one who would need convincing because Dad loved dogs. "The more the merrier. Please." This time, Charles and Lizzie spoke at the same time. Mom was looking at the dogs, and Casey had curled up for a nap. Both puppies had sacked out beside her. Scout was tucked into the curve of Casey's belly, and Buddy had his chin resting on Scout's leg. All three dogs looked peaceful and happy. "Well," Mom said, "it does mean that if Buddy enjoys having a friend, maybe Scout could help him burn off some energy." "Yes!" Charles threw his fist into the air. "All right!" yelled Lizzie. "Yay!" the bean squealed with delight. He probably didn't even know what was making Charles and Lizzie so happy, but he knew it was time to celebrate. Lizzie turned to Meg. "We'll help you find Scout a forever home," she promised. "Hold on there." Mom put her hands on her hips. "I haven't said yes yet." But Lizzie and Charles and Bean didn't even hear her. They had run down to the yard and to tell Scout the good news. She was going to be their foster puppy. Well, that's the end of Chapter 3. Thanks for listening. I hope that you're having a great day. And remember, we miss you here at school, and keep on reading. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.